This is the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game.
Rule number one is you have to believe in yourself. You're the only one who doesn't think you belong in this appointment. The prospect has already validated your existence by scheduling time with you. Get it through your head you belong here, go in there, crush it, and close the deal.
A place where sales professionals can come to learn from other sales professionals and thought leaders that have mastered their craft.
The difference between a good salesperson and a best-in-class salesperson is only 2 minutes. By spending an extra 2 minutes on what you might think is a mundane task in the sales game, you separate yourselves from the pack, you grow your book of business, you close more deals, and you retain your accounts.
As well as their peers who are still striving for perfection to achieve their why.
I have a wife and 4 kids. Failure is not an option.
Real sales professionals, real stories, real results. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game, and we are bringing you another Keystone agency, Mr. Steve Munn from Augusta, Georgia. What's going on, Steve?
Just happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So we were talking right before we got on. I see the hockey jersey in the background. I heard ever so faint accent mixed with a little Georgia, just a little.
Yeah.
So
My accent's all jacked up.
Why don't you give that a... My wife's from Jersey, and I've never seen somebody go from zero to ghetto Jersey so fast in my life as to when she gets back home.
I lived in Jersey myself. I've got some eyewitness accounts of that. So
yeah, absolutely. It's like you get her around a pack of her friends, and it's a Real Housewives series waiting to happen. So.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up in a town of 150 people in Maymont, Saskatchewan, which is Western Canada. It's like 6 hours north of the border, North Montana, North Dakota. Well, my parents had the general store in my hometown, Munn's General Store. If we didn't have it, you didn't need it. We're about 30 miles from the big city, about 13,000 people in North Alfred. Of course, what else are you going to do? You're going to play some hockey growing up. And so, yeah, played some junior hockey after high school in British Columbia. And then I played college hockey upstate New York at RPI, little Div 1 school.
Is that Rensselaer?
Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. A lot of people don't know RPI. Yeah, you're
the
good.
master of worthless knowledge strikes again.
I was gonna say, if there's one person that does know it, it's you.
Well, listen, I will tell you why, and it's because when you probably fell into this a little bit, but when you're an athlete in high school and you're being recruited, some people are more aggressive than others, and for whatever reason, man. Rensselaer found out originally I thought I might want to be a chemical engineer coming out of high school. And I was being scouted for baseball. And I mean, I got something from them at least once a week. I mean, that's the main reason why I know who they are.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
I mean, good. They had a good program. Their baseball program was good when I was there.
Another one was Laterno University out of, I think it's in Texas somewhere. They were heavy, and Barry out of Miami. Spent way more money than the Division I schools trying to recruit people. It was just insane to see how it worked. And I've never heard of any of these schools. And you're like the first person I've ever met that actually went to Rensselaer. So
yeah, well, there you go. They are out there. Yeah, I mean, super small school. I think it's only 5,000 students. But it's engineering, architecture, computer science, and thankfully they've got a management school for the hockey team.
There you go.
We need some easier curriculum here, guys. So yeah, graduated in 2002 with a bachelor's in management, concentration in finance. Went straight into the minors. Played in the minors for like 9 years. Kind of. A little bit of AA in the ECHL, a couple of years in the AHL. Went to the UK. I got my MBA while I was playing for a team in Sheffield, England. Loved it there. Was going to quit, get a big boy job, and then buddy taught me to go play in the Asian League in Japan. It's great. Most money I ever made. Easiest schedule, 36 games. I got hit
Wow.
4 times all season. I mean, it was just like, this was what my
I
body
didn't know
needed.
Asian hockey was a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they like
neither did I.
the most polite hockey players on the face of the
Wow.
earth. Did they
It was really-
apologize if they accidentally bumped into you?
No, definitely no apologies. There was like long strings of expletives that I obviously didn't understand. Well, that's not true. They could cuss pretty good in English. They had that stuff
Nice.
figured out. But yeah, no, it was good because it wasn't nearly as physical as what I was used to, and my body needed it at that point. And then did one more year after that. We missed England, so we went back to England for one more year. And then I hung them up and moved back to Augusta in 2011. It was one of my stops in the minors along the way. My first wife's from Augusta, so we moved back here to be with, near her family. Maymont, Saskatchewan wasn't really on the list of destinations post-hockey career. And so been here ever since. And yeah, so.
How rough and tumble is Saskatchewan? I mean, I've been to Montana, and for it to be that much further north, like how brutal are the winters? Like, do you just have like moose standing in your front yard for no reason? Like, I'm trying to get a picture of it because I couldn't believe when we went to Montana, we flew into Billings, we drove 2 or 3 hours, made a right on a dirt road, and drove another 2 hours to get to where we were actually staying. And there was
It's
nothing.
just not for me, bro.
Well, this is all pre-cell phones, right? There wasn't really internet. There wasn't really cell phones. So unplugging wasn't really an issue anymore because, believe it or not, Kyle, there was a time in my life when we went to the grocery store, nobody could get a hold of us. I used to actually, if my brother and sister started fighting,
well, it's funny. Like, how old do you think I am, man? Like you mentioned on the last episode about having to dial 7 digits to call the girl in middle school or whatever. Like, bro, I grew up with landlines. I didn't have a cell phone until I was like a senior.
Did you have a dial on your phone, or was it push button?
There was the first phone that I remember in my parents' house and in my grandparents' house was a rotary deal.
And it was 4 years before you were born.
Maybe, but they still had it in their house. And
Yeah, whatever. I'm going to continue to use hyperbole to highlight your youngness. Anyhow, but no, I'm interested, man. I've never been up there. I've been to British Columbia. I've been to other parts of Canada, but I mean, is it pretty much wilderness up that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's tons of farms, right? So like I grew up on the north side of the North Saskatchewan River, which is a freaking big river. So we had a little bit of scenery, like it was a little bit, the river carved out a little bit of hills in the land where I grew up, but for the most part, it's pretty flat, just tons and tons of farms. And it's brutal. Like the weather can be rough in the wintertime. I mean,
mountains?
If you're outside, you got to take a leak, you can watch your pee stack up. I mean, it's
man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it can get really cold, like -40, -50.
Now I'm definitely going to Saskatchewan.
It's always windy. Like, people up there are tough as hell. Like my grandmother, she just passed away earlier this year. She was 101.
Yeah.
And her family, they homesteaded in Saskatchewan. So they were like one of the first families there to break the land. And they lived in a damn barn board shack for the first like three years. They just put a wood stove in there. It was like 10 by 10 or something like that, or 8 by 8.
That's crazy, man.
And like it was like literally like someone needs to keep feeding that fire or we're just gonna die overnight.
Yeah.
Like they were
awful.
Like they're so much tougher than we are right now. But yeah, it's beautiful, big sky. You got northern lights. I mean, we were there this summer. The sun sets like almost northwest. Like it doesn't set in the west, it sets in the northwest. So I mean, I got pictures of the northern lights this summer when we were home, and you can still see the sun, like the light on the horizon, but the northern lights are dead in front of you. And
So
because it doesn't like fully set up there, right? Or is it?
I mean, it still gets dark. I mean, it definitely does get dark, but it's just not dark for as long as it is here. The days are just way longer. And of course, the flip side of the wintertime, I mean, when I was going to school in wintertime, I mean, I was getting there in the dark at 9 o'clock, and it was, I'm playing street hockey, with my buddies, and it's 5 o'clock, and you're walking home in the dark in the afternoon after school. So yeah, it's just different.
So the Northern Lights, does it look like it does over in Iceland? I mean, is it that pronounced? Wow.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sell it, man. Tour Saskatchewan needs to hire you as a spokesperson.
Yeah.
If you can stack your pee in the winter and see the Northern Lights, and if you can do it at the same time, holy cow, man, that's a party.
Yeah, heck yeah, absolutely.
So listen, you move out of the hockey, career. Now you're in insurance. What's it look like? How did you make that decision?
Well, actually, I didn't start in insurance. My first big boy job was actually with a company called Lawson Products. And, it's a publicly traded company. They're out of Chicago. I sold industrial supplies. So my clients that I had around here in Augusta were like, I had a bunch of United Rentals shops. I had Club Car, I had Easy Go, I had John Deere, I had golf courses like the Augusta National and the Augusta Country Club. So anybody that needed to keep a fleet going, anybody who needed to keep a factory going, anybody who had a maintenance department was basically a client. And it was going well. Like I was doing well. I was winning the, award trips, top 50 sales reps get the trip to Turks and Caicos or whatever. It was going well. But like, it was a very in-person business. Like I had to go to the plants. I had to go to the shops. Like it wasn't like an internet thing. You couldn't just set it up cause guys' needs changed all the time. So you had to be there weekly. So for me to grow, it got to a point where I just was kind of like, I can't take on any more promotions to management were like a $30,000-$40,000 pay cut. And then I have to travel 4 days a week. So I was like, heck no, this is, so I was kind of at a spot where I was doing well, but something was going to have to change. And a recruiter from Keystone reached out of the blue. And I'm just like, I couldn't imagine anything more miserable than insurance. I was like, buddy, you're gonna have to prove yourself to me on this sales pitch, buddy. It was I took risk, in my undergrad. I took, a couple of risk classes in the MBA, and I'm I would freaking snooze fest, right? You're gonna have to sell me on this. And so, but I heard him out, and he's like, made a compelling case. I'm in Georgia, a pasty white Canadian, I could use a little more air conditioning in my life. I can't, it was a struggle, day in, day out of these shops and factories. I'm like, well, be nice to be on the carpet a little bit more, less on the concrete. And so I started meeting with our agency principal, Forrester Adams, and, just genuinely liked the guy. He was fun to talk to. I was excited about what his goals were for the agency. He liked my background as an athlete, but he also liked my background in sales because I was going after the kind of business that he likes, And I remember one of our first meetings, and I still say it today. I said this morning, but I want to go after workers, widgets, and wheels, right? And that was kind of a aha moment. I was like, okay, well, I'm already going after all the workers, widgets, and wheels. Workers, work comp. The hairier, the better. The more problems you have, the better. The more I can help. Widgets. Are you making widgets? Are you manufacturing? Are you keeping a manufacturing facility going? Are you using widgets in your job? That's a good client. Wheels. Are you pushing dirt? You got a big fleet of yellow equipment. Are you delivering stuff? You have just a bunch of F-150s because you're a construction company. We can help with those, right? So it's kind of like, all right, well, there might be something to this. And so, it's been 3.5 years, made the jump. I kind of joke, as I'm on my third career as an adult, every, decade or so, I try and switch careers and take none of my previous work experience with me. So, so that's just,
it would be so awesome though, if you went to cold call on somebody and they threw up an objection and you threw them into the boards. I mean, it would be fantastic.
Well, thought has crossed my mind.
Yeah, seriously.
There's been some moments where, it's, when I was playing hockey, you're having a bad day. Essentially, your coach would be like, you suck. Like, maybe you should just go like fight somebody. And I'd be like, oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, let's go. And you just take out your frustrations, and HR is just, you just can't really do that.
Damn HR.
Yeah,
it'd be like having
HR.
Terry Tate, office linebacker, except in a hockey uniform.
Yeah, it's definitely crossed my mind. Yeah, I miss that. I miss
just being able to go take somebody's head off.
Good for the soul. God.
Yeah. So what? So when you made the jump, obviously you kind of in your head had what that might look like, and you were like, that sounds terrible. So obviously, it hasn't been all terrible for you. Like, what was something that maybe surprised you after kind of getting your feet wet in the insurance industry?
Well, the biggest surprise for me was they had warned me that the first couple of years were pretty miserable, and in my arrogance, I thought, well, that's kind of for most other people.
Yeah, it's for everybody else, not me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's like, yeah, come on, man. So yeah, that was certainly surprising for me. I know you're about to have. Have you released Robert Sutter's?
I think it came out yesterday.
Okay? Well, I'm excited to see it. One of the first things they had me do is go see Robert Sutter, and he's like lays out all these great ground rules for engagement. And man, I broke every single one of those. I had my, I'd set myself up for failure so many different ways. And just chasing that commission. I mean, like 2 feet, heartbeat, I'll take the meeting. Let's go, And so, yeah, I learned a lot of hard lessons early on, but I got better and better, and I had more, the losses were less, the wins were more. There's some great moments along the way. Certainly still some frustrations here or there. One of the Robert Sutter was certainly excellent at the start for me, but I know you guys know them well, but Preston Diamond and Kevin Ray at the Institute of Work Comp Professionals.
Mm-hmm.
When I really kind of doubled down and engaged with those guys, that's when I really started making positive changes. So, dedicating myself to learning work comp and being freaking useful in a meeting with people was really, really a game changer for me, because I'm so competitive and I want to be the best, and not, having that much experience. It was hard coming in because I wanted to be everything to people. And I really I'm relying on my team a lot, but I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy my team relies on, right? And so doubling and tripling down on education on work comp really kind of gave me a lot of confidence. I owe a ton of gratitude to Preston and Kevin for all their help and kind of bringing me along. That really, really kind of changed my approach. Then I started approaching sales from a work comp perspective and a problem solving perspective, educational perspective. And man, it just made a great difference.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I mean, as far as skill set goes, obviously when you play team sports of any kind, you develop the ability to work with other people, that you learn leadership to a certain degree, you learn grace to a certain degree. How has that skill set that you developed over what really is the majority of your life, I suspect, playing hockey, helped you to be successful in the agency world?
Oh man, a lot of different ways. I love the way you laid that out, because I learned so much from sports. I've got a big fancy education, like that RPI degree, like that'll cost you 60, 70 grand a year, right? My MBA, University of Sheffield, that's a top 10 university in the UK. I got a really shiny education, but I learned a hell of a lot more in the locker room, and from my teammates and from my coaches, and about life and everything, through hockey and through sports. And it's been really good for me. I feel like I really focus on my relationships with my account managers. I always express gratitude. I always thank them, whether it's a huge deal or a small deal, it's still important. And so like, I know, like I try and be a good teammate, right? So that's a really a big thing. We've got a couple young producers in our office we just hired this year, one in personal lines, one in commercial lines, and they're doing great. But I'm trying to be the old grizzled veteran of 3.5 years. I'm pretty grizzled after 3.5 years, trust me. But I'm trying to help them every chance I get, trying to be the good teammate, right? Forrester, as our principal, has trusted me to kind of have a seat at the table with our leadership team. I have no idea if you guys would know what EOS is.
Oh yeah, we know traction.
Yeah. So we decided we started doing traction this year, and so up until we just hired Heather Smith, who's an absolute rock star. We stole her from American Family. She's our new chief of staff, VP, executive VP. So I was our integrator, starting off on EOS, and which was fun. It was a stretch for me. That's not my personality. But
yeah, I was gonna say, man, I don't know that I'd have you pegged to be the integrator, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing.
In all of our deep conversations we've had over the years, I've nailed my assessment down over the last 30 minutes. But in all seriousness, I think I played competitive sports my entire life. Kyle as well.
Yeah.
I'm more the visionary, 100%. I don't want to be the integrator. I hate being the integrator. I could do it if somebody said, no, you're the only option we have. Please go be the integrator. And then I would apply myself and be the best that I could possibly be in that role. But, that's not my preference. So it's interesting to hear you say that, because I wouldn't have pegged you to be the integrator just off a conversation.
Yeah. So like our opening day with EOS with our implementer, right? So we hired somebody to kind of coach us up on it. And I read the book, read Traction, read Get a Grip. So I kind of have an expectation going in, and I know all right, I got a seat at the table. I'm probably going to get some kind of seat. I'm thinking marketing seat, public relations seat, because I'm definitely, between Forrester and I'm way more out in the public, networking and different things like that. I had our admin pegged for the integrator. I was like, Lisa's got this. That's just like a no-brainer, just like Forrester's the visionary. And then when it came time to all right, which bum goes in what seat? And everybody on our team was like, well, Steve, you're obviously the integrator. I was like, hey, what? Have you met me? I'm a freaking mess. No, I can't. You've seen my desk. I can't organize. I can't be in charge of this. So literally, we had left the meeting, and I've known Heather for a long, long time, and I called her. I was like, Heather, so hear me out, And at that point, I was like, I had already introduced her to Forrester as somebody I think we really needed to be serious about bringing in, and I knew Heather would be perfect for this role, and she is. And that was so day one as integrator, I found my replacement, and stepped on the gas for that. And so she started with us. We started EOS in January. She started with us July 1st, and I just was talking to her before I came on this, and she's been here 2.5 months, and just tons of positive change, and really, really working on our culture, and we had a strong foundation, but we're just fortifying. We're going to take off, and it's just fun to see. And, So
what's been the biggest challenge with the culture and kind of fortifying that?
Oh gosh. So it's a tricky one. We've got.
I'm a trickster.
We're under a little bit of stress, right? And our service team, we're at least one person short. Not uncommon for agencies right now. Super hard to find people, right? We had a pretty young gentleman that we were really high on, that we saw as becoming an account executive like probably in a year, maybe a little more than a year. We just needed to grow a little bit more, have a little bit more kind of big complex accounts where, like for us, we have an account executive that he works on our biggest accounts, most complex accounts. And that's where we saw this young man kind of going in. But in the meantime, we needed him to be an account manager, you know? So we're not quite there, but this is where we want you to go. Well, he took an opportunity to go to the position we wanted him to be in. We just weren't ready yet. So we're happy for him. We're really, really happy for him. But that's a big hole. Like he was good. He was a great team member. He's a really, really sharp insurance mind. Great teammate, you know, there early, stayed late. I mean, he just was so we're missing him. And we need, you know, we're being picky. We're not just gonna, take anybody off the street because they have to be, they have to be a good fit for us,
Sure.
And so that's like right now, you asked, the hardest part of the culture thing. It's really kind of dealing with the stress. I mean, because we're busy, like we're growing, and our service team needs help.
How big's the agency?
We've got about 15 or 14 and a half people. We got one part-time, so she's going to school.
And how about business mix? Are you predominantly commercial, or is it across
we're
the board?
probably 80% commercial. We do have a personal lines department, kind of focus on middle class and up business. As far as commercial goes, we have some group captive clients. That's kind of something we've been leading with in the area quite a bit the last few years, but mostly generalists. We do have a lot of real estate developers. Kind of did a little inventory of recently. We're like, you know what? I almost kind of got a little niche here of real estate developers. And I think we're certainly going to focus on that strength. Definitely have a niche with churches. We've got 49. We're working on the elusive number 50 right now. And we've got, most of our churches are local to Augusta, but we have some really big churches in Atlanta and Charleston, Savannah as well. So we're really good at those. But we've got manufacturing, we've got construction, nonprofits and private schools. Augusta's 600,000 people ish, in the metro area. So it's kind of hard to kind of drill down on just one thing. Yeah.
So what have you decided you're going to hang your hat on? I mean, I know what you said you originally thought coming in, but have you found any particular area or areas that you really have decided aren't miserable in insurance? I mean,
yeah. So, I'm like, I got this love-hate affair right now with FedEx delivery guys. So, I've got, five of them right now, and working on another one right now. I thought that was going to be my thing for a bit, and then I just like it went all cold on me, and so that hurt my feelings. And then I've got a little manufacturing. I would love to build that out. The tricky part with manufacturing, a lot of them are giant multinationals, headquarters in Germany, so it's not always easy to
no, but if you see those, typically you're going to find the feeder fish that are manufacturing the components around whatever their end product is. I mean,
that's right.
I've seen that happen a bunch. I know when I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and Mercedes decided they were going to start building the M-Class down in Vance around where Tuscaloosa was, that we saw these machine shops that were all making different machined parts just come from nowhere. And they're not small. I mean, you're talking 40, 50 employees in some cases. That's good business all day for me. So
heck yeah.
If you have a healthy amount of the big guys, there's usually some infrastructure that supports them because they're not making that whole thing from soup to nuts. Typically it's minimal actual fabrication and a lot of assembly because they can do it cheaper by bringing those parts from other people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so one of the things I've tried to do to kind of build out the manufacturing and industrial stuff is there's a group called the Industrial Network Group. And starting in January, I kind of took over as our chapter's coordinator. And so it's up to me to line up speakers for the monthly meetings and things like that. It's been really good for me. Like, so I can use it as a disarming way to, like, all right, hey, come check out this meeting. But I can also have clients in the group, so I can cozy them up to nice clients that can tell them how great I am. It's way more believable if someone else tells someone how great I am versus me telling them. So that's been good for me. Getting plugged into a group like that, because it's kind of like, everybody's heard of BNI. I always say it's kind of like BNI for adults. It's BNI typically is like kind of transactionals, good for transactional business, but this is good, like relationship driven, helpful networking. And one of the Scott Addis ideas that's fantastic, that's really worked well for me too, is just having that idea of that research board, prospect research board. I call them a future client research squad, because it's a way funner acronym. And so I meet with them quite regularly, and that's been good. I just got a lead from a banker, one of my banker COIs yesterday, and multi-location restaurateur. So
I'd have to imagine a banker's a good connection for you.
Yes, very good. So that's been one of the greatest things for me. Not being from here, I don't have nearly the network as our principal forester. Kind of grew up here. I talk funny. Yeah, kind of like people get a little suspicious. He sounds like a Yankee. I don't know if we should trust him. It's like, no, I'm Yankee Deluxe. I'm not. I'm north of the Yankees. So sometimes people may not warm to me as quickly as I would like. So I've had to be really super intentional about my networking, and I enjoy it. I love connecting people. I love opening doors for people, and it's fun to see other people succeed, and eventually they return the favor, hopefully, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, serious question. I've been thinking about this now for like 45 minutes, but you live in what many would consider to be the golf capital of the United States. Yes. And you've got a hockey jersey hanging around behind you. So I got to know, man, when you go to tee off, with your prospects or your clients, are you going full Happy Gilmore in the tee box, or what are we doing here?
I
need to know that you take 3 steps back and you have the Happy Gilmore approach, and when you swing and miss, yell out, "Is that goal regulation size or what?" That's what I need.
I've scared a few people here and there.
I bet I've scared more.
A long time to realize, like, your knuckles aren't supposed to be white when you have your driving, right? So I remember for a long time, like, man, like, you should maybe just try and get some tempo when you're swinging. But in my mind, I'm like, I just kill it,
Just try to hit it as hard as you can. There's a lot of hockey guys that are good at golf, though. It's all about the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. Steve, I don't know if you know this or not. We're in a bit of a hockey town here in Tampa. Just little bit of notoriety for hockey here the last several years. But boy, I remember when the Lightning first came to Tampa. I had season tickets back in 92 or 93, whenever it was.
Yeah.
And I played in actually, this is when we were at the fairgrounds, man. And there weren't nets. Like, people were getting taken out in the bleachers by pucks, literally like Happy Gilmore's uncle. It was insane, but, or dad or whoever it was. But I remember playing in a charity golf tournament with a bunch of the guys from the Lightning, like Rob Zaminer, Roman Hammerlick, awesome. A bunch of those guys. Not a golf swing. And by the way, let me just preface this, Steve. I'm a terrible golfer. Kyle will happily let you know that I'm a horrible golfer. So when you said you probably scared a few people, I can assure you I've scared at least as many as you have, and maybe even more. But How's the swing transition, man? Does it,
It
I mean,
doesn't.
do you have a
Well,
fluid golf swing, or are you kind of just pulling the hockey swing and hoping for the best?
well, here's the thing. Use Google. You're going to see, if you look up my like hockey statistics, I was not a goal scorer. Okay. It's probably not the best shot to start with. So, swing mechanics, probably not in a great place to begin with. So yeah, I've worked a lot on my swing. It's gotten a lot better. I think earlier this year I shot my career best 81.
Here you go.
For you, man,
Pretty
that's
happy with that.
respectable.
Very solid.
Honestly, I'm usually happy if I break 90.
Me too.
I can knock. I mean, when it goes the way I want it to go, I can knock it like 300 plus. Which is really fun when it happens.
For sure.
Doesn't always happen that way.
Same thing for David. I mean, when he gets a hold of it, he gets a hold of it. But
that's about a 1 in 17 shot for me. About one out of every 17 actually goes a mile straight.
Yeah.
So one of my my youngest brother, one of his buddies played hockey in our high school here for whatever reason that I went to. Like we won a couple state championships when I was there, and then
Nice.
I think they won one, and my brother is like 9.5 years younger than me and my youngest brother. But I played golf with him and his buddy that was on the hockey team. And it was just like, I was watching the first couple holes and I was like, what the hell is going on with his swing? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. And then I'm like, my brother mentioned something about the hockey team. And I'm like, that's what it is. He was, dude, it was crazy. Once the light bulb went off, like he was dropping down to a knee almost, like he was like he was just trying to hit a slapper right in there. And I was like, and he was kind of like sliding forward. He was making okay contact. Like he's not a terrible golfer, but I'm sitting there. I'm just like, dude, what is happening with this guy's swing? And that's what it was. I mean, but then, like I said, it's a hand-eye coordination thing too, where, you got some guys like, I think Jeremy Roenick's a pretty solid golfer. I think he was out there playing. I think he's got stories about playing with MJ back in the day.
Taking money off MJ. Drinking cases of beer
and then going and playing a game. Was that had to be on The Last Dance or something? Because you know what I'm talking about. It was, I can't remember where I picked that up. Maybe it was just a post on Instagram or something like that, but that's funny stuff, man. So like you're new enough in the role where you probably, can recall things from the beginning of it more so than somebody like David. So like, what would you give as a piece of advice to, somebody who's new in the producer role, who's maybe just getting into the insurance industry? What's a piece of advice you'd have for them?
Well, there's probably a few. I mean, the first would be, invest in yourself, right? So, the time I spent with Kevin and Preston, became a certified work comp advisor, then became a master work comp advisor. I mean, it gave me confidence, right? I was, like I said before, I was finally useful to somebody, right? So definitely like become dangerous in something. Recently I've been doing a lot on cyber. So I did the Scott Addis class in the spring, accredited cyber risk advisor. Just did a presentation on Thursday last week at the Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce,
nice.
How to become insurable in this crazy cyber environment.
Yeah, so, it starts with multi-factor authentication, people. Everybody and their brother doesn't want to do it. And I can promise you, there is nothing in this world worse than me needing to log into my laptop when my my phone is over on the other side of the room at 3 o'clock in the morning. Dude. And I'm sitting here like literally balanced on my big toe as
drives me nuts,
touching the mattress, trying to stretch across and grab my phone so that I can approve it. But I mean, that and endpoint detection is huge right now, man. And it's things that people, kind of know need to be done, but they don't ever really do anything about it. And it used to be that you could go to some of these cyber carriers and they would just charge you a little bit more if you didn't have it. Now it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, definitely learning a specialty, or I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but like I said just before, the becoming dangerous in work comp is useful for me. Same with the cyber right now. Other advice for young producers, for ours that we have in our office, Abby and Samantha, I'm so excited for them to get plugged in with Scott Addis's training. We're a beyond insurance agency. And, if you can learn, Scott's approach, and make it your own, you're going to just save yourself a hell of a lot of heartache. The hardest part is sticking to it, right? The hardest part is walking away when you see the red flags that, they're going to be a commodity shopper, or maybe,
especially when you're new, right? Like trying to just get business on the books.
Exactly. And that's, tons of my brokenhearted moments in the first couple of years were stuff like that,
Sure.
And even recently, we just worked on a church that we shouldn't have worked on. Frankly, we got a little pressure from our, one of our primary church markets to get more submissions, and we didn't get all the info. We weren't really able to work our process to start, but we thought, well, we've got enough to do, and I had a bad feeling the whole time. It's like, well, the carrier wants to see more submissions. Let's just do it. It should be a zero surprise that we didn't get it. Zero.
No, but that's the toughest thing, man. That's the toughest thing for producers to deal with is, you hear guys like us chirping about make sure you have your ideal prospect, only go after your ideal prospect. Meanwhile, you have your agency principal in the other ear saying, hey, where's my production? I need more submissions. You can't bind it without submitting it. We need to get some things moving, or we're going to have a different conversation. It's tough, man. I don't know of anybody who starts out with no experience in the industry and doesn't cave to that pressure at some point. It's easy for me 20 years in to sit back and say, nope, they either play by our rules or we don't play the game. But that is where I'm at this point. Yeah. And it is much easier to write business that way. At least the business that you want to write, that's going to stick in your book and that you can make a material difference in. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to go meet with somebody and quote insurance and write a policy so that I can hang around for a year and get paid for it and not do anything. I want somebody who values what we do, that we can drive an immediate impact on, that's going to be my client for the foreseeable future and understands when we engaged and the results we achieved after engaging with them. So,
yeah, no, for sure. It's, I tell people all the time, I want to be in the same category as your CPA, as your lawyer. I don't want to be a vendor. I want to be an advisor,
We tell them that, but what? Our behavior dictates otherwise most of the time. And when I say our behavior, I'm talking about the industry at large. That's one of the reasons why I'm such a big proponent of doing a fee-based agreement instead of taking commission for placing insurance. I'd rather write everything net a commission so that I can charge my client a fee. And then I don't have to have that conversation, right? You don't see, other than the plaintiff's attorneys, you don't see lawyers or accountants working on commission. Right. Their compensation's not tied to the sale of a product. They're getting paid for their intellectual capital, and they're getting paid a good hourly rate for that. Yeah. I think that agents, number one, they want to be considered trusted advisors in that same light, but let's call it what it is. Most insurance agents, not most, almost every insurance agent doesn't have the base level college education that those people have. So we have to go out and push ourselves to do, get designations, get involved in programs, like what Scott has with Beyond Insurance Group Network, all of those things. That's how you can get there. But the problem is, in our industry, unlike being a lawyer and accountant, you don't have to have that formal education. You simply have to be able to pencil whip continuing ed every year or two online to prove that you got your hours in. And that's it. That's why I got into the industry, because it's full of a bunch of people that are average, period. They don't have the drive to push themselves to be better because they're making $150,000 a year to do enough to get by. That's great for them. They live a great lifestyle. Yeah. That's just not how I'm wired, man. If I can't get it all, I don't want it. I'm going to go until I can get as much as I absolutely can. And so, not that I wanted to jump up on my soapbox, but to your point, we want to be the trusted advisor, but we don't want to do the work to be the trusted advisor, period. We think that if we can place the insurance real good, we're going to get some credibility. That's not the case.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is such a freaking balancing act. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, and you certainly can't be that trusted advisor to everybody. Obviously, you can't do that for the single location barbershop, right? What the heck, how can I help you?
Just get up in there and be giving people fades.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, dangerous with the clippers. So yeah, that's the trick. But like you said, though, as an industry, we've done ourselves such a disservice because we've trained everybody to shop on price. We've trained everybody to get 3 quotes or whatever. We've trained everybody to, just look at that bottom line, not get into the forms and the exclusions. That's our fault. And you can't watch primetime TV without
exactly
even 15% or lowest rates, shop us, save 40, whatever. It's just it's no wonder everyone is terrible at shopping for the insurance.
Well, we're the ones who taught them. I've probably said it 1,000 times on the podcast. Yeah. They learn from us, and when we act like prostitutes, they're going to treat us like they're pimps, right? That's just the way that it works. Yeah. We're going to whore ourselves out to place your coverage for the year, and then when you fire us and smack us and send us to the curb, we don't like it. But what do we get? Yeah. We got what we deserved because that's what we acted like. That's why, I was in an agency that's part of the Beyond Insurance Group network for a very short period of time before I left and launched Florida Risk. So I'm not intimately familiar with Scott's process, but I am with mine. And that is, we're not even going to go after placing the insurance until after we're hired. If you want me, it's going to be based off of the value proposition. It's going to be based off of the risk assessment we do for you. It's going to be based off of the solutions to the problems we present. And if you want us to come in and fix the issues, you can do that. And by the way, your insurance products, that's the funding mechanism for you to buy the value proposition. We're going to teach you how to use money you're already spending to get what you should be getting, and you aren't, right? And so by the time, that's why when it gets into price shopping and everything else, that's a first meeting problem for us. That is not a, hey, we're going to quote and try and win the business problem, because if we don't feel like you are going to be the right type of client for us, and if we don't do a good job of articulating our ground rules of doing business with us, then getting to the point where you waste time quoting never happens, because we've been hired for months before we're ever going to go to market. And that's one of the reasons, there's just a whole lot of reasons why that works. The problem is, again, we want instant gratification. We don't want to delay that. So why go get hired until we can get paid? Why go invest? These people will probably screw me. They'll let me go in and do all my work and then won't give me the business at renewal. You know what? If that happens, you did a bad job of pre-qualifying your prospect. Okay. I am 100% confident if I get in front of somebody and I lay out the value proposition, I say, look, I know your renewal's not coming up, but these are the things we're going to do. Here's a letter of engagement that says you're going to hire my firm to do this. I'm not going to charge you now, but it's understood we will place your insurance when the renewal comes up. We could do that. If I don't feel so good about them, I'm going to charge them a fee now. Yeah. And I'll still net the commissions out, and it'll be an off-cycle deal, but the fee will replace the commissions in the policy, and the premiums will be reduced at renewal anyhow. Or the third option is we split found money. We open old audits that were messed up. We do experience modification factor analysis, file aggravated inequities, and recover money from the carriers. And we'll split that money with the client so that they don't have to come out of pocket any money. But none of that is done without having a letter of engagement signed, period. Got to have it, because, if you're going to break your promise to me, I want it in writing that you broke your promise to me.
Yeah, it's good. Somebody should write that down.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little bit, but they're too busy. They're too busy quoting, man. Too busy working on quotes. So
that's right. That's right.
Well, listen, we've been going about an hour. I want to be respectful of your time. What did we leave out? Any nuggets you want to share with the rather large listening audience that's been hopefully still with us? I feel like we've had a really good convo here.
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. Gosh, I don't know. Are you looking for like sage words of wisdom? You want to, what are you looking for here?
I don't know. I was really kind of hoping you were going to tell me that you had this great idea to make your business card hockey pucks that you just fire into the lobby from the park.
You know what?
With a slap shot every time the door opens. I mean, that would be a fantastic move.
One of my best buddies that lives here in Augusta, he ended up here the same way. He played for the Augusta Lynx, the first
Lynx. I was going to ask what the mascot was.
It was the Lynx. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty cool logo. But anyways, yeah, he's a MAI Risk Advisor. Talk about a good golfer. The guy knocks the ball a mile. He only uses his driver like par fives. That's it. It's like 3-iron, 3-wood. He hits it too far. But he's got his business card is like a little spongy, little hockey
puck. Nice.
Little stress ball things. And it's like, oh man, that's kind of what I want to do. So anyway, I haven't thought of a cool giveaway yet for hockey, damn it. But I will say we are kicking around the idea of, we've done some pretty good little social media videos here and there, but we're trying to like make it a little bit funnier. So if you stay tuned, you follow us on social media, Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn, you may see some Steve and hockey-esque stuff soon.
Awesome.
Nice.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but we'll see. It'll be funny. It's something somewhere between like the old ESPN commercials.
Oh, dude, I wish they would bring some of those back, man. Those ESPN commercials used to be the best. I love every once in a while they'll throw on, it'll like when they've got nothing else going on, like when all the real sports are over and baseball spring training just starts, like they throw on the classic ESPN commercials for like an hour. So good with the Stuart Scott and Van Pelt on there is just the best.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're I don't know. We've got some scripts written, but we'll see.
There you
go.
go.
See how it goes. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
But, otherwise, when you guys are in Augusta, come see me.
Looks like you got a bit of a playoff beard in your LinkedIn pic. I just sent you a connection request.
Yeah. Okay.
So that I can follow your hockey content or hold you accountable for producing it if I don't see enough.
That's right. Well, hey, speaking of hockey content, nothing to do with insurance, but like I'm trying to bring hockey back to Augusta, and so I'm kind of in the middle of that charge as well. We're working on bringing another minor league team back to Augusta. Because with it, we actually don't even have a community rink anymore here. So there's no place for youth hockey. There's no place for schlubs like me to play beer league. No place for public skating, figure skating. So I'm pretty excited about that. We're working with a guy that owns the Jacksonville Iceman. Great guy, Andy Kaufman out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's really interested in bringing a franchise here. We're working with kind of local authorities on the new arena for him. So that's kind of fun. It's kind of like my little side deal right now that I'm excited about. So
yeah, man. Sweet. I mean, back in the day in Saskatchewan, you just grab like 10 of your buddies, pee in a parking lot, and you've got instant rink, right?
Heck yeah. Yeah, literally. There's a pond behind my house that we could skate on. Everywhere in Saskatchewan it's called dugouts. Like the farmers, they build these dig these big holes to catch the runoff water so they can irrigate the fields or whatever. So you can just go to one of the dugouts, shovel off some snow, you just do whatever you want. So yeah,
there you go.
Missed that, damn it.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you spending some time with us, and I want to thank Melanie from Keystone for putting out the APB for podcast guests. I mean, we've had a ton, and it's all been a great conversation, man. So really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and look forward to having this episode drop soon.
Well, thanks, guy. I got to say, I really enjoy you guys. Walking the dog, listen to you guys, and usually learn something. Usually laugh a couple times. So,
well, that's much appreciated, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
For sure.
Have a great week, Steve.
Talk to you guys. Take care.
Later.
You've been listening to the Power Producers Podcast. You can follow Killing Commercial Insurance on Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our book, The Extra 2 Minutes, and our website, killingcommercial.com.